In terms of the rents that a landlord quotes, ideally in a utopian landlord world, a landlord would be able to quote a rent which would give him a very healthy return based on his investment. So that may be something he'll be able to do depending upon the market conditions. But the first and foremost dictate of what rental rates will be are current market conditions and competition. So in downtown St. Petersburg in 2009, the vacancy factor ran to about a 30% vacancy overall in the market, which is horrendous in the office building business. When you get up to a market-wide vacancy of 30%, you're in a tenant's market to the nth degree. We are now at vacancy levels at around 5%. So rents went from about $20 per square foot. When I first got there in 2009, the rents are in the low 30s per square foot right now. We've seen over the last 10 years over a 50% appreciation in rents because of the declining vacancies and the lack of new supply. In theory, we could even charge more. We could even go to 35 or 40 a foot and probably get it. But our philosophy at Feldman Equities is to always keep our buildings full, push back leases for as long a lease term as we can possibly get, because I'm always thinking about the next recession. And that's just unique to how we operate as Feldman Equities. Rent and repent is the old expression my dad had and which we all live by here at Feldman Equities. So we are constrained by market conditions. Sometimes we can get a little more rent if we hold out a little bit longer, but we're inclined to fill up as quickly as we can. The difference between usable and rentable square footage is that landlords, particularly on a floor that is divided up, let's say it's a 20,000 square foot floor, there are 4 tenants of 5,000 square feet each. Each one of these tenants resides along a circulation corridor that rings around the elevators that allows pedestrians visitors that are accessing the space to walk down a corridor and open the front door of a tenant's space. That circulation corridor takes up quite a bit of square footage, as do the bathrooms on the floor, as does the elevator landing, which is the place that you arrive at when you first walk in and out of the elevator. These are all what we refer to as common areas. So when a landlord computes rentable square footage, he is allowed to recapture in that calculation the amount of lost square footage for the common areas that are what we refer to as circulation areas or common area. So for example, if 20% of the floor consists of circulation corridors, bathrooms, and elevators, then the landlord is, in many markets, like here in Tampa, allowed to add a factor on the usable square footage, which is more or less the area you would think of in terms of its carpetable area, where you can lay a carpet, where you can walk inside your door. From the moment you walk inside your tenant door, you open the tenant door, and now you're in your suite. All of that square footage inside your space, that so-called carpetable area, I'm just using that as a way of illustration. There's no such legal terminology as carpetable. But just to give you a sense, that square footage might be 10,000 square feet, but the corridors, the bathrooms, and the elevator landings may be 2,000 square feet. So the landlord is actually able to determine and state in the lease that the total of those 4 tenants on the floor pay the grand total of 12,000 square feet of office space. Even though their carpeted area is only 10,000 square feet, there's a 20% add-on factor to compensate the landlord for the lost areas on the floor that he's entitled to recoup. And those percentages are often dictated by market. So here in Tampa, it's a 1.2 factor is typically accepted. It may, if you have a highly inefficient building where your corridors wander all over the place and you lose, say, 30%, you probably won't be able to recoup that in downtown Tampa because the market constrains you to about a 20% factor.